So it's time to move on to. I'm excited. Are you excited for this next part?
I'm excited.
I don't know what to expect.
Me neither.
All the hosts have a
exploding
monthly
stuff.
segment. I did Stone Takes on the first week. This is the third week, so it's Pocky Box. He has not told us what's going to happen. So we're going to be on the sidelines like popcorn eating. So hopefully it's going to be really good and have lots of fun. So
I'm excited to see what I do too.
here comes Pocky
Let's
Box,
go.
our brand new segment.
I am literally on a box. Hold on. I was literally standing on a box, but apparently it didn't work. Hi guys, this is the Pocky Box. This is where I make observations about our favorite fandoms and talk about them. Why? Because I have nothing better else to do with my time other than sit and stare at the walls and question my reality. Such as an example, has anyone ever noticed that Gotham PD never has a retirement party for any of their detectives? Is this because no one ever lives long enough? I mean, is Crocodile and like all of the other villains just having pin-ups of all the detectives they've ever murdered? Also, has anyone ever questioned why no one figures out that the only person who can possibly afford all the gadgets in all of Gotham is one guy, and he happens to be a millionaire who lost his family? Why doesn't anyone ever figure out who Bruce Wayne is? Fact, Batman. Also, speaking of superheroes, has anyone ever noticed that Superman seems to be immune to all viruses ever? I mean, you know, he came from an alien planet. Why did chickenpox or the measles or mumps kill him? I mean, he just sort of landed. He didn't have any of our immunity systems. Has anyone ever watched War of the Worlds? That doesn't seem to be an issue. Also, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. The hairs on his hands hold up his things. Doesn't seem to actually be a viable option. Maybe like suction cups for hands? That would make more sense to me. But that's just silly and weird. And I approve of silly and weird. Speaking of Spider-Ham, what would he taste like? Ham or spider? That is also a question I ask myself on a daily basis. I have a crew that are dying over here in the corner. This is making me amused. Also, speaking of Doctor Who's time travel, has anyone ever questioned about resetting your watch? I mean, Bill and Ted did it. It's like, hey, reset your watch. Your clock's constantly moving forward. The Doctor Who, that doesn't seem to be happy. He just goes willy-nilly wherever he wants. But that doesn't seem to be working either. Also, speaking of superpowers, Wonder Woman. She was made of clay. Does that mean she actually has a DNA sequence? Or is she just statues that just seem to be floating around? Also, why doesn't other gods seem to be doing this? Why doesn't other superheroes make statues of themselves and ask the other gods to seem to be doing this? And speaking of the Pantheons, why doesn't the other Pantheons start getting heroes of their own stuff? And we've already proven that in DC and Marvel Universe, multiple Pantheons exist. Why does it, since Zeus does it, why doesn't, Odin have his own little statue superhero floating around making up stuff as he goes? And speaking of which, why do the gods have the power to make an invisible airplane? Why not a helicopter, a hovercraft? Something that's slightly also, where does it park? Speaking of other heroes and stuff that we've all been wondering about that in my mind should be asking questions. Cyclops. Like seriously, what happens when he closes? I know when he closes his eyelids, theoretically the things are still going. Does that mean he has no eyelids? And how does he what happens if he has allergies and he needs to put little eyedroppers in? Does he just blow away half of X Mansion when that happens? I need to know. Also, Jubilee. Who thought Jubilee was a good idea for a character design or anything? You decided to make a character whose entire point was to be cool. You have her a yellow trench coat. Why? Because trench coats were popular in the 80s. You gave her wraparound sunglasses. Why? Because in the 80s, those were cool. And finally, recently you decided to make Jubilee a vampire. Why? Because the Twilight kids like vampires. So clearly, Jubilee has to be a vampire. This is Pocky. I have a box that now I'm going to stand on and bring up the camera. I'm now off my box. And now time for some other random stuff that you probably care about.